everyone to another show of Straight from the Paws. Today I have quite a few guests with me, four-legged friends, but also let me introduce my co-host, Beverly Andrade.
Hi.
And Michelle Conlon is our guest. This is Michelle, and Michelle has some guests with her that she brought along, I would say family members and a family friend member. So would you introduce who you have with us?
Well, this is Brady, and I adopted him, as you know, from Forever Paws about 3 weeks ago. And this is Lucky, and he's been a family member for 8 years, and that's Liam, Brady's friend.
Okay. All right. So welcome, Brady, Liam, and
Lucky.
Lucky. So let's talk a little bit about your background. I know that you worked in corporate America when I first met you, and you were kind of trying to put a grooming business together, and then all of a sudden you opened up your own storefront and a grooming salon. Now, you left corporate America. You have any regrets about that?
No, not at all.
None at all. Well, that's good to know. I mean, I think you're in a whole different aspect, and you really have made a commitment to animals. And I want the audience to know, the reason why I invited Michelle to come on was because Michelle has taken on a lot of what we call special needs animals. Now, if you recognize, as she mentioned, Brady was at the shelter, and Brady is a special needs dog. So we're going to talk a little bit about Michelle's dogs, and then we'll move on to why she's been with special needs. Brady hasn't been your only special needs dog, correct?
No.
So tell me about some of the other animals that you've had as special needs.
Well, I had my dog Abby. She's passed away a couple of years ago, and I adopted her when she was 6 years old, and she went blind from diabetes when she was about 10, but you would never know she was blind. She'd go out in the yard and bury her bones. She would play. I mean, you would just never know she was blind.
Okay, all right.
And I had my buddy too. But he was an older dog, but he was blind too.
And then all of a sudden you went on our website and you saw Brady.
Yes.
And Brady is blind.
Yes.
And you contacted me and you said, I'm interested. Is there any interest in the dog? And I said, well, unfortunately, he is adorable. I mean, if you look at that face, I mean, he is really a beautiful dog. I mean, I myself have a Papillon mix, and seeing him in the shelter was very difficult. And again, special needs dogs are adoptable. And Brady's a young dog. Is that true? What are we estimating his age?
I think it was a year and a half.
Year and a half. So he's got a lot to learn and a lot to give, a lot of love to give. So we were concerned about Brady, and we had several vets take a look at his eyes, and it's either genetic or something happened that we don't really want to talk about, maybe human error, and that's why his eyes are the way they are today. But being blind doesn't prevent him from doing things.
No.
So we saw you outside the studio, and he's walking with the other dogs, and he does okay. Now, Lucky.
Well, Lucky is happy.
Lucky is happy, Lucky. Lucky is very lucky, and he was abandoned at your home several years ago.
Yes.
He hasn't quite bonded with Brady.
Not yet.
But they don't seem, they seem to be okay with each other. Now, you have a grooming salon, so you bring all your animals to work with you, correct?
Well, pretty much, because my house is attached to the groom, connected, yes. But actually, Lucky doesn't like to go into the grooming salon.
Oh, okay.
So he stays outside the door and barks.
Oh, okay. So he just lets people know what's going on.
Yes, he's security.
He's security. Well, there you go. That's security. And why did we bring Liam today?
Well, Liam is a friend's dog, and he comes every Wednesday, and he stays over. And they struck up a bond together, like this, very quick.
So Brady and Liam stuck up a bond.
They play all day long.
They play. Mm-hmm. Now, how quickly of a bond did you and Brady develop?
Right away.
Right away?
Yes.
So
I'm going to say it took an hour.
Wow. It took a whole hour.
Wow. Because he was very quiet.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it was just like his personality came out. I think he was kind of cautious, and then he thought, okay,
this is
happy. This is good. We went for a walk, and yeah.
I think Liam wants his buddy.
What about the house? I mean, how, like, him navigating through your household and all that, through the business? And
he follows me everywhere I go, but when I have to, like, if I have stuff that he can't follow me around, if I have stuff I need to do, he has a big pen that he can stay in, and his dog bed is in there, his blankets, his toys, and when I give him treats, he actually takes the treats and buries them in his bed.
Really?
Yeah, he does everything
like a
regular dog would
regular
do.
dog. So,
And he knows his dog bed.
He knows his own bed.
He sleeps in his dog bed.
because like we said, you've got Lucky there, so Lucky must have his own bed, I'm assuming.
Lucky sleeps on the couch.
Lucky sleeps on the couch, okay. Excuse me. And so, I mean, people are in and out, and there seems to be no problem. He has no problem with people coming in and people going up to him, and, you know, because he can't see. So, I mean, I know with a blind person, they kind of have sensors that people are coming near, and so you would say Brady's the same way.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, when he, of course, because he's in the grooming salon with me all day long, so a lot of my clients know I adopted him, and they're like, oh, I want to see Brady, so I bring Brady out, and at first he's quiet, and it's kind of funny to see that, because
Yeah.
that's how he was when I first met him, you know, just cautious,
Yeah.
meeting new people.
So he's not, you know, he's got his own instinctual abilities to
Yes.
figure out if he wants to be near these people or not.
Exactly, yes.
And that works out well. Has there ever been anyone that he's like standoffish with?
No, I haven't
No?
noticed that.
Because I know with our dog, she pretty much likes everybody. Like we have people come to the house for meetings and stuff, and she's pretty good. But there might be one or two people, and I won't mention who. There are a couple of people that, as soon as that person, not at the meetings, I will say that, but a family member's family, my Lola just like, she is not happy with that person, and that person is not an animal lover. So
Oh,
Lola sort of knows that and sort of stands back. The husband can walk into the house, not a problem. But she walks in and Lola starts, and she doesn't bark very often. She'll bark and she'll growl, like, uh-oh, you know, so they're kind of aware of it. So I think they've got some senses, obviously, sometimes. But I think Brady would have developed more cautious senses just because of who he is. Now, I think you said you had a dog with diabetes as well,
Yes, Abby.
Abby, and we've had some issues with animals with diabetes in the shelter and so on.
We currently have one right now at the shelter.
We do.
Katie is a
Katie, that's
diabetic
right.
dog,
Exactly,
and
exactly.
she has to have insulin twice a day.
You want to talk a little bit about Katie?
Well, Katie was on a stray that came into Forever Paws, and she was pregnant.
Right.
And while at the shelter, she gave birth to 2 puppies and immediately went into foster care. But in foster care, the puppies were not doing well, and I believe one passed away in foster care.
Right.
And at that time, the foster mom took Katie, the dog, the mom, and the baby to the emergency vet. And lo and behold, they found out, whoops, we're going to knock over a microphone.
got it.
Come on. So we found out that Katie was a severe diabetic. And the puppies were also probably diabetic. I don't know if they can be at that age, but the surviving puppy got very sick and passed away in the emergency room.
Right.
And Katie was very, very ill. Once they stabilized her, the foster moms made a commitment to take care of her and started with the insulin injections twice a day. And it was probably a very high dose. And currently, she's been spayed. She's been in foster care for almost 2 months. And she's been spayed, and her insulin levels are starting to come under control so that the insulin injections have gone down. She doesn't have to have as much, but she'll probably be on insulin for the rest of her life.
Right.
And she's also a very young dog. I believe they guesstimated her age at about 1.5 years.
Oh, wow.
So she's a very young dog, and she's going to be insulin treated probably for the rest of her life. But luckily, she will not have any more babies to contend with.
Right, and she is up for adoption. Which
She
pretty
is up
much,
for
if I
adoption.
understand, her diabetes is under control for the most part.
And she does come to the shelter 2 days a week to spend the afternoon. She comes on Monday afternoons and Tuesday afternoons, if anybody out there is interested. Katie is a mixed breed dog. She probably weighs about 20 to 25 pounds. So she would stand, I don't know
About
if
the
the
size
camera
of
can look at me.
Liam.
Oh, no, she's smaller than Liam.
She is?
Yeah. She
All
might
right.
be as long as Liam, but her legs are shorter.
Okay.
And she's a golden brown color, one color, and I don't know what her breed is. I haven't got a clue.
No.
She's just one of those all-American mixed breed dogs.
Yeah.
And she's a love.
And
I mean,
she's a
she
love.
is a love.
She's a lap
absolute
dog.
love.
Definitely a lap dog. And she loves her foster mom, but her foster mom is definitely wants her to go to a good home where she can be maybe an only dog. She gets along well with dogs because the foster mom has quite a few. So she does get along well with dogs, but because she's going to be insulin, dependent rest of her life, and that can run up to some kind of a cost, whoever's going to adopt her has to absorb that cost.
Well, again, to the audience, it's a special needs dog.
Another special
But
needs dogs.
there,
yeah.
it's not, I mean, you've had that experience.
Quite honestly, you just have to really make sure you monitor their blood sugar.
Yep.
And the insulin itself isn't expensive. It's just that you have to make sure they eat the right amount, because I had a couple of incidents where I didn't really know anything about diabetes, where I didn't at all. And her blood sugar went too low, so you have to always make sure
Right.
you monitor that.
But they have a good value of life. I mean,
Oh, yeah, and she had other dogs. I had Lucky and Cole.
And she was okay.
She was okay.
She was
yeah.
okay. So, I mean, that's important. I mean, people, and the audience, that's why I want you to, invited Michelle to come on, because I know you've had a lot of experience. And, fortunately for the dog, for Katie right now, the person that's her foster mom is also a retired nurse. So she was able to really regulate. But now that
yeah.
it's regulated and she knows what she's doing, pass the information on. So we're looking for a great home for Katie. The home that she's currently in does have, enough dogs, and they really don't want to have another dog. But they're taking very good of Katie.
Yeah.
So that's what's important. And I think people have to understand what you said. It doesn't hurt. You can learn it very quickly, and the dog can have a valuable life and be a good part of the family.
I mean, Abby, she did everything. I mean, if she was blind, she'd stick her head out the window. With her diabetes, she led a very active life.
She did. That's wonderful.
And being blind at the same time.
Being blind at the same time. Was that caused by the diabetes?
Yes.
It was. All right, so we've got a young dog at the shelter. If anyone is interested in finding out about Katie, I don't think she's up on the website yet, just because they wanted to make sure she was regulated with the diabetes. But you can call the shelter and, ask for the manager and see if you'd like to come down and take a look at Katie, because she's a wonderful, wonderful dog. All right, so now we've got 2 sleeping dogs and 1 dog walking around with Bev. So let's see. We thought, oh, I'm so sorry, Lucky. I kind of woke you up there. I didn't want to disturb you.
I just wanted to give Liam a little run here. Liam is a young dog,
Yes,
isn't he?
he's only
full
just
of
turned a
energy.
year. Yeah.
He's full of energy, and he wants to play with toys.
Liam
So
can
the
play
leash,
all day long.
the leash is probably going to be his toy currently.
Yes.
So-
All right, well, let's take a few minutes and let's see if Brady's ready to play a little
Brady,
bit.
do you want to play with Liam? They
Well, we can
love
put him
to
over
play.
here. Oh, yes. Here they come. They're all coming.
Let's see how this works.
Lucky will follow me, but Liam pretty much will play with Brady. Go play with your friend.
Oh, I don't know.
There you
Oh,
go.
there you go. You can, he'll be okay. Like if you, let me see, I'll take the, go play with Brady.
Brady's,
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think we're all going to play on Mommy's lap.
yeah, probably. There you go.
There we go.
I don't know, I think Brady,
I don't know why Liam's attached to me today. Usually he just likes to go and play.
well, it's sort of like, human children. They only do what
There
you
he
don't want
goes.
them to do.
Okay, you get up there.
Let's see.
Brady.
Come on, Brady.
Come on.
Go ahead, baby. There's your friend. No, today's not the day.
Today's not a play day.
Liam.
They're exploring the studio.
But
So, all right, so we're not going to have a playtime.
All right, well, let's let them see what happens.
Liam,
The door's closed.
come over here.
Whoa.
And there's Liam.
I think Liam's got a lot of
Liam wants to be
energy.
interviewed.
All right, come on, Liam. I
Liam
think
wants to be interviewed,
We're
okay.
going to put Liam down.
Oh, well.
All right, so, but as you can see, there is no barking, there's no
No.
bad interaction.
We're gonna just
It's
put
just
this
a
leash
matter of getting along. You okay, Brady?
Well, that was an
Excitement for Brady.
experience.
That was an experience.
All right, Liam, you
Here.
need to
So
calm down.
can you tell us if there's anything special that you have to do with a blind dog? I mean, did you make any accommodations in your home of any sort? Do you have stairs in your house?
That's the only thing, actually, I'm glad you mentioned that, is that if I go upstairs, he wants to follow me. So, of course, I watched to see what he would do with the stairs, and he went to climb them, and so I have to make sure I take him upstairs when
So
I
you
do go
take
up.
him?
Yes.
Do you have gates at the top of the stairs?
Well, no, because I make sure that he doesn't have access to it, or when I
Okay.
am upstairs, like I have the bedroom door closed, so he can't.
So that would be probably the only pitfall
The only-
of a blind dog is a
yes.
stairway.
Yeah.
He probably could navigate up, but
Well, that's what it is. He can go up,
But he can't come
wouldn't
down.
be able to go
Right.
to come down.
And I noticed, like, when he's, on the couch, he's very, like, aware of if he could fall.
The edge. Okay,
Yeah.
so the senses come in and he understands what's going to happen to him.
Yes.
All right. Now, when he's out, like you take him for a walk and stuff, and he's walking, I saw you walking two together and one separate and all that. I mean, is he aware, because I mean, obviously blind people will be able to use a cane.
Right.
He doesn't have that availability to him. So does he just keep walking, or does he walk tandem with Lucky, or how does that work?
Actually, the first few times we went walking, he was just, like, right attached to my leg.
Okay.
And now, like, if we go to the beach, he's the dog that's
He's
in
in
front.
lead?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
I noticed that the other day.
I did see a posting you had of Brady on the beach when you first got him.
Yeah.
I said, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Brady's got the good life.
He does.
I mean, you have to understand out in our studio audience that our animals are all strays. The majority of them that come into the shelter are strays. We do take owner surrenders, but these were strays. So when you see a dog like Brady come in as a stray, I mean, your heart breaks. They've been
Absolutely.
roaming around on the street, and, you know, they can't see.
No, I
You know?
just.
Or Katie,
it's
the one that
amazing
got
they
pregnant,
survive.
you know, she was very sick. We just didn't know how sick she was until, you know, she had given
Yeah.
birth, and then the diabetes really kicked in. But obviously, she already had it, you know,
Well,
the
I think that-
diabetes. And she was very thin, don't
Right, with
forget.
Katie too, that we suspected she was pregnant, and we were getting, the foster parent was coming that next day to pick her up, and before we even knew, she had the babies that day. So we couldn't transport her right away. So, you know, within a day, we knew what was going on, so we had the foster place, and that's important too. I mean, if people, you know, if you can't take a dog in, but you want to be a foster parent, please contact the shelter. We are always in need of foster placements for animals. And yes, you do get attached to them. I'm not going to, you know, be deceiving. You do get attached. But when you see them go to a good home, it's a good feeling.
Yeah.
Like I was saying to Michelle before she came in, you know, I really had a special concern about Brady and was concerned that he wasn't going to be adoptable, and was worried that Lola was going to have a brother, because I wanted him to make sure that he was in a good, safe home. And a lot of time people are not comfortable with adopting special needs animals. So as you can see, I was very happy when Michelle said, I'm interested. I was like, yes, you know, and she put an application in. And unfortunately, I think she was probably the only application at the time, because people are very leery about adopting a special needs animal. So you really need to take the time to open up your minds and your hearts for these animals, because they have a right, as human beings do, in special needs, to have a good, fulfilled life and a good home. And as you can see, Brady is so anxious, you know, to be and really worried. I mean, he's just so upset with his life, and he just doesn't know what to do. And, you know, he's in close proximity with Lucky, which is nice. And eventually, I think we were talking about, they will bond together.
I think they will bond. I think sometimes with special needs dogs, like say a dog, there's some dogs with 3 legs, or,
Right.
you know, being blind, a lot of people, they put the human aspect into it, like, you know, they think of how they would feel, but blind dogs, they don't read books or look
Right.
at the sun, they go by the smell, and, you know, they get along fine, they're happy.
It's a lot easier. It's a
They
lot
do
easier.
adjust, we know that.
Yeah.
We've had our 3-legged dog on the show. We've had all kinds of adoptions come to the show. We've had Noble. Noble did pass away.
How's
Frosty
Frosty?
Frosty
was
was
one of
on
the
the show.
dogs we had on
Oh,
the
yeah,
show.
Frosty was on the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's
We've
doing
had
well.
Frosty with his
Yeah.
owner come to the show.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we have had special needs dogs come on our show, and I think, luckily, our new manager, I think we'll probably be calling him a new manager for 5 years, but our new manager, Casey, has really expanded our Facebook presence. So all of these special needs dogs get on Facebook before they get on our website, and they do generate interest, you know, on our Facebook page, letting everybody know that these animals are going to be here and they're going to be up for adoption in a little while. I believe that's where you saw Brady.
Well, I happened to be scrolling through Facebook, and I saw his face.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh
wow.
my God, he's
He's
so
so
cute.
cute.
So, and that's the other thing too. In the past when I was doing rescues and stuff, as well as Forever Paws, came up with two. Talk about special needs dog. We had one dog. As a human being, the fontanelle wasn't connected on her head, so she, it was a situation where on humans they connect them, and then they're all set for life. But a dog, we had a little Maltese that was unable to, we didn't have the surgery, and she was with a family and got a broken leg by one of the kids very quickly. And this was like, if that dog hit the head, that would have been it. So we took the dog in, and the dog stayed with us. And the dog had such bad anxiety and stomach problems that she was, if we didn't keep her, we failed as foster on that, she was going to end up
Oh,
being
was that
problems.
your,
She was a
That was
little
one of
dog.
our-
She was a
Yeah.
little Maltese dog.
Yeah.
And then that happened. And then we also had a Maltese that Baby, about the
Well, Baby had a kidney problem. Her kidneys were underdeveloped, so they never really grew from infancy. So her body cavity filled up with urine. They called it an ectopic ureters. I think that's the phrase that the doctors use. We did bring her to Angel Memorial in Boston, and they said that she was not going to have a long life, and we had her for like 9 to 10 years because we took good care of her. But she was a special needs dog. She was in a diaper most of her life. And we did opt to have the surgery to correct it. I know, Liam. We did have the surgery, so there was a portion of her adult life for about 4 or 5 years that she was out of a diaper. But as she aged, the ability to hold the urine was gone. The muscles were too old.
Oh, right,
So
yeah.
she was back in a diaper again as she was aging. And I think we had her, she passed away. She was between 9 and 10 when she passed away. So she was a special needs dog from the get-go. And she was one of those backyard breeding dogs where they buy two dogs at a pet store and then breed them for the puppies. So we call them backyard breeders as
Yeah.
opposed to the horrible situations that you get out in the other
The puppy mill.
the puppy mill
Yeah.
dogs. So the people that bought her thought they were doing a good thing, and they had puppies from her, but she was never able to control her urine. So she would just have urine all over the house if you didn't put her in a diaper.
Right, right.
So yeah, we kept special needs dogs. So we were one of the few foster moms at the very beginning of our career in Forever Paws. And so it's nice now to have so many foster moms that I don't have to do the fostering
Yeah.
for the babies and the sick ones. Although we've had our share, we still continue to foster, but we get to the point where at the shelter, when there is no one left to foster, then I usually will agree to take it. So Brady was almost coming to foster
Well, I'm glad I have
with
Brady.
me, and I was going to introduce Brady to Lola, and I would have been a foster failure again.
I
I'm
wouldn't be.
sure.
I wouldn't be good as a foster.
yeah, well, and people know that. Some people just know I can't do it, and I
I'd end up
understand that.
keeping them. Well,
Yeah.
I'd end up keeping them. all.
That's the problem.
Yeah, that's a
the
foster
problem.
failure
That's a
problem.
foster failure.
Then we
and-
don't
and
use
that
you
happens.
anymore, so we lose another foster
Yeah.
mom.
But I think letting the audience know is that there are all different kinds of special needs with animals. We just mentioned a few others that that people wouldn't even think about, but they do have some illnesses like human beings, and they can be taken care of. And as we say constantly, and I keep repeating myself, the fact that we're a no-kill shelter, so that when you have an animal that comes in and has special needs like this, we work very, very hard to get our animals adopted. We lucked out with Brady. Katie, I think she's about ready to go. So if anybody's interested in Katie, like I said, give the shelter a call. We just had a cat adopted. Fern was adopted?
Fern, which we had, was our second longest cat at the shelter.
Yeah, she got
Yes,
adopted this
Fern.
summer. She has some medical issues, and the family that came in, awesome family, just decided she brought her husband back in, and they said, "Yep, that's the cat for us." And there was some medical issues. I'm not clear on what they were, and
We still have Vera.
I was going to mention Vera.
Right.
We still have Vera, and Vera's a very unique situation, and you've got to really be a great cat lover to accept Vera into your home. Can you explain a little bit about Vera?
Well, Vera must have been hit by a car as a stray and became paralyzed in a part of her spinal cord that controls the bladder and the bowel function. So like a kitten, when we foster kittens, we have to stimulate them to go to the bathroom if they don't have a mom with them. So Vera ended up, her tail was badly mangled in the car accident and had to be amputated. And at that time, they discovered that she was paralyzed in a small portion of the spine that controls the bladder and the bowel. So she has to be stimulated to go to the bathroom as an adult cat. And at the shelter, you know, they take care of that, and Vera's fine. Vera lives in a cat colony at the shelter.
I think I saw her when I
She's
went to
been
get
up. They were
Brady.
trying to push her as a special needs, but no bites yet. So Vera's been living at Forever Paws most of her adult life. I think she's been there close to 5 years,
I'm
4
not sure.
years.
Well, she looked very happy when I saw her.
She's very
there.
happy. I mean, she's not caged. She
Yeah,
has
they
an
have a nice-
entire room, and
Yeah.
most of the volunteers love her. They go into that cat room and they sit on the floor, and Vera's the first one on everybody's laps. And she wants to be adopted. She wants to have her forever home. And a lot of people that come in, they say, "Oh, I love that cat." But then we have to disclose her issues as special needs, and it's a turnoff to a lot of people. But she'll live out her life with us because, like Gail said, we are a no-kill shelter, and we would never harm Vera. She lives a happy life at the shelter, and, you know, she is up for adoption, and it would be nice to have her
It would be
own
happier
home.
if she could go home
But
and have a
again,
forever
special
home.
needs,
Right.
and it needs a little bit of know-how to take care of her. So.
Well, you're not going to believe it. Well, we've almost out of time.
Wow,
and
that went by fast.
It goes by fast, and I'm so sorry that we bored
didn't get
your
Brady
children here a little bit too much. We kind of bore them out a little bit, or tired
Liam's
them
the
out, I'm
only
not
one
sure.
that's not tired out.
Yeah, he's ready to go, and maybe he'll
Liam's
play
always
later.
ready to
He's
go.
always
So
ready
just
to
for
go.
the studio audience, Liam is not your dog. He boards with you when his mom is busy.
She's a friend of mine, and he just comes over to play.
He comes over
One
to
day a
play.
week, he spends
Yeah,
the night.
she said he comes over to
Because
visit.
he's an only,
Yeah.
the only
so
dog
he
at
has
his
play
home.
dates.
And there's always dogs at my house,
So that works out.
Yes.
Well, I want to thank you for bringing your family with us and your brood and everything that you do for the animals and
Well,
what you
thank
do for the
you.
shelter.
For having me here.
And thank you for sharing about, you know, the special
welcome.
needs that you've known, because that's really appreciated. We need more people like you out there in the animal world. So thank you, Michelle. Thank you,
you're
Bev, for
welcome.
coming. And
Thank
thank you, all three of you, that two of you are
Liam,
asleep.
Lucky, and Brady.
Yes, thank you all. Have a great day from Forever Paws Animal Shelter.